Okay, what a cool case. This ForeverSteel Cybertrix has screws to unbox it. It's pretty cool. Looks like it's made out of solid aluminum block, just milled in. That's like a little extra nuance that you're paying for your money. And one of the best thing, or this is the best knife case I ever had. Solid block of aluminum again. Guess what knife is in here? Peekaboo. Okay, anyway, here we go. ForeverSteel Cybertrix. And as you see from the beginning, it's a knife it's been inspired by the Cybertruck by Tesla, which some people think is kind of polarizing. You either think it's good looking or not. So maybe this is a knife also that you might think is polarizing as well. Maybe it's good looking, maybe it's not. Okay, ForeverSteel. ForeverSteel, never heard of the brand. It seems to have some kind of relation to Ricky or Wright. That premium brand is one of the premium brand Chinese factories. That's definitely a good thing. So maybe it's a subsidiary of that. That's good because Ricky is one of those brands that does top quality knives, so at least you know that quality is there. Okay, so as you can see, like as I go further on, this knife materials we're looking at. Oh yeah. So we have M390 blade, very cool premium steel. Not like you're gonna use it anyway. M390 blade. You have TC for titanium all over the place. Titanium, and I suppose that the 440C that it marks is the liners that's actually holding the scales in, and like what a cool design, because you just don't see any screws. It's like a puzzle of how is this put together. Very weird, very cool. The designer is the Clinics, or aka King Freeman X. You can look up on Instagram. This guy is a Chinese knife designer, and he's been doing knife designs for 3 years. If you look at his portfolio, it's quite unique, because obviously you can see this type of very minimalistic, very modern, very futuristic design, and you also can see other stuff that looks like claws or like a dinosaur skull inspired. So it's a very unique portfolio of designs that he has. I wouldn't say so. I talked to him a little bit. He said that like his inspirations are like movies like Transformers, Star Wars, and like DC World and MCU and stuff like that. So inspired by, I guess, pop culture, or how would you call that? I don't know, how would you call it? You can comment below, but like nerdy stuff that we like to geek out on. Okay, so and then this knife, let's go through the dimensions. We are looking at 200 millimeters from top to bottom, the whole length, and the body would be 115 millimeters. The width of the knife is 13, and with the clip, we're looking at 15.5 millimeters. Very traditional dimensions that you would find. Let's just compare this to Sebenza right here. Actually, let's put him on the weight machine. That is a large Sebenza Blade HQ special at one time. 4.6, so not exactly light for EDC, 4.6 ounce, but for this largeness, 4.8, see? 4.6, 4.8, yeah, it's lighter than a Sebenza, or at least this type of Sebenza, so it is comparable, it's competitive, the dimensions are similar. Let's just go through the pros, the cons, conclusion of this knife, this very unique knife. Okay, pros. I'm gonna say the pros is the looks, and you might disagree, you might agree, and it really is, actually there's actually two designs of this. This is actually more controversial design, because there's one that's a little bit more sleeker that goes down this way. This is more of like, I don't know what you call this, a sperm whale or some kind of interesting, like almost looks like an animal or something like that. But I thought like this design is actually, because this is such a futuristic and unique design, I figure that you might as well get the most weird version of it. So, but there is two versions if you prefer one or the other. So pros, I'm gonna say the looks. Like I said, it's futuristic, it's a conversation starter, it's a seamless design, no screws, like I said. Wow, how did they put this together? It is insane. Do you see screws anywhere? It's crazy. You compare this to a Cybertruck, which it is inspired by. The Cybertruck, I would say that most people think it's ugly, even myself, but I want to argue that this is kind of a beautiful design. Another thing I would compare this to is there's a super yacht called, more of a performance yacht, I guess. It's called the Wally Power 118. I think it's 118 feet. And it's just it's like a yacht that looks like it's from the future, or it's like been inspired by like the stealth fighter or something like that. It's a very cool and very sleek design, and it was so cool that it was actually featured in one of Jerry Bruckheimer's movies, The Island. If you watch that movie, you'll actually recognize it. And that boat, that kind of like performance like super yacht, that boat has like this kind of similar design cues where you're looking at like, you know, different angles and stuff like that, and very futuristic. So I'll argue that this is actually a classic kind of minimalistic future good looking design, to be determined by the eye of the beholder, of course, because some people are just not gonna like this. Okay, so pro number 2, quality. This is made by Ricky, like I said. Ricky's one of those good companies, you know, because there's so many different companies out there, factories that produce, you know, Chinese knives, and China basically can do anything. They can make you the crap quantity and crap knives, or they actually can make the best knives, you know, they have all the technique, they know the techniques, they're using all the European milling machines, they know what they're doing. So that's why you always see there's a lot of collabs going on between designers and these factories, because they can execute a good job. So in terms of the quality, as you can see, it's just like the amount of spacing between, you can see how little spacing there is. It's like the quality of the machine elements that they put together is so tight. This is like beyond Sebenza, in my opinion. To execute this kind of like design, you would have to have, you know, like really tight processes, and the R&D must have been insane to create this. They probably went through a lot of prototypes to create something like this that actually works. In terms of how to take it apart, you would have to actually pop this off, and then you're able to take the scales off. So very cool design. Quality is absolutely superb. Not a single miscue. Everything is perfectly aligned. Everything is, I mean, I can't believe like how they did this kind of hand rub. It's perfect. It's going from this side, and this one's going to this side. It looks very jeweled, like you would have like a luxury watch, and you find different facets of the watch, you know, machined or finished in different ways. Either it's brushed, or it could be polished or something like that. So it's actually quite similar to if you look at the Sebenza, you have like this sort of bee black finish, right? So my thoughts is this might get snail runs on it if you carry it, if you use it. Another thing is the design. The creativity of this is so like out of the world. It's so much easier just to design a knife with just screws on the outside, which just doesn't make it special. But he really wanted to encapsulate the whole Tesla Cybertruck look, and I think he succeeded. Let's talk about the cons. Cons is the looks. What am I talking about? I know the looks is polarizing, so I'm just gonna say the cons could be the looks, because I know this design is not for everyone. Not everyone's gonna love it, so that's okay. I accept that. It's a legitimate argument. The design's not for everyone, but I love it. I still think it's like very cool looking. And the price, maybe some people might not like the price, $399 USD. I think I might have paid cheaper than that because I bought this off of AliExpress. And actually for AliExpress it's much easier because I live in Asia. It's much easier to ship it into where I am. It always goes under the radar and I never pay import tax on it. For you, you might want to buy from the actual website of the ForeverSteel, which is fsedc.com, and then probably I guess you'll have more customer service that way. But yeah, for the price, I guess some people might compare it to a Sebenza. You can get a Sebenza for, what is it, starting at $350, $400 around for the very plain one, and then you're like into the $500 something range with the more inlays and different stuff like that. With that price of the Sebenza, you're getting not just a Sebenza, you're getting their customer service with it, so and you're getting the resale value with it. So I don't think this is a user. Con number 3. I don't think someone's gonna buy this to actually use a knife. Can you use this knife? Let's see. So you have a flat grind. How hard would this be to sharpen? I don't think it would be too hard to sharpen, to be honest. Actually, the flat size ones are okay. This is like sharpening a tanto grind. You will sharpen the flat side first here, and then go into this, and then, not sure, you wouldn't have to really blend it. You just have to be careful when you go over that after you find the degree side. But in terms of having a flat, I can understand why they went flat, because everything's supposed to be angular and polygon with this design. So I can understand why they wouldn't go for something like a Sebenza, where you have like kind of like it's like a hybrid hollow point. So this is like a slicing laser beast, right? What they're famous for. Very thin behind the edge, and then this will be, let me feel that. Yeah, quite different. So going for tool, Sebenza's it. This is for the person who doesn't really plan to slice much with it. From the factory, it is sharp, completely sharp. And you could strop it, whatever, to maintain the edge. A ceramic rod, but in terms of sharpening with a KME, which I have, it will be possible. You can just do it flat edge, flat edge. I would be careful. I would be careful on this for the, what do you call it, plunge line or Picasso, whatever. I see myself as not really using this knife as a knife so much. I'm pretty much at that stage of my knife journey. I can imagine someone can sharpen that, and if you're really worried about like screwing up this up to this part, because this is the hard part actually when you get up to here, and then you don't want to hit any of this and like mess this up. If I really wanted to make this a user, I would probably just Dremel just a little point here, just a little sharpening choil, or what do they call that, sharpening hole or whatever. Just so we have like an edge to finish on without like going into this part. I think I did that. Actually, dremeling is not that hard. Sometimes I like, for this I actually fix this Vespa OTF, one of those piece of shit Chinese brands, like artisan cutlery piece of shits. So there are crap like Chinese ones out there, but yeah, you can Dremel and actually modify the knife if you had to. But in terms of what they executed, and they executed actually perfect. Everything is completely perfectly centered. Damn, I can't really believe how tight these lines are and even. It really blows my mind. You could like do that if you wanted to really sharpen it and really make this a user. Up to you. I think most people will buy this as a art knife, or a knife that, you know, there's days for me, and I'm sure for yourself, where you actually carry a knife, you may not use it. So if you find yourself that way most of the time, then you might want this knife, because carrying it around makes you happy. I mean, like when I go to like the cafe and I put this knife like on the table, and I just look at it and like evokes emotion, and it makes you quite happy. Alternatively, if you need a new user, you can always pair your art knife, which I would consider this, with a user, and you can do something like a Giltech Ruck, and this has something similar, so you can see the similarities in this finish. We have like this kind of bead blast and the shiny bits, right? So this is a quite nice pair. This one you can beat the shit out of. You don't even have to know how to sharpen knives. Replace the blades as you choose. Dope utility knife. So you have one user abuser, and then your showpiece for Instagram. Okay, so let's go into the conclusion of this knife. Conclusion, who is this for? Who's this for? Okay, so I would say this is for a veteran collector, maybe someone who's well into their knife collection, a knife enthusiast. And so I feel like before you even reach to this part, you always have to start with a Sebenza, probably as your first, as you get into that price range, this kind of mid-tier $400 range. The next after Sebenza is actually a Rockstead. Here we go, Rockstead, and these are like, shit, what did I pay for these? I forget. The 750 or 800. It's actually quite expensive if you think about it. This would be equivalent of a small size Sebenza. This is kind of like that next level where you're like, they're always talking about tight tolerance, and then this would be just the next level where you have this mirror finish, and that's what you're paying for, all this extra stuff. And then so you have to appreciate that, and then you are paying for that. And then so then this would be like, I feel like the next step of where you're beyond like user knives and beyond like tool knives, and as you're going towards artistic knives and knives that are conversation starters, or knives that have interesting designs and are able to execute it. Whatever you're paying for your money, I think it's not going into the customer service. You obviously gain customer service with this one as well. Rockstead, you get free lifetime sharpening. Just send it in. But for your price, you're getting the knife. You're getting this very dope case, right? And that's it. You're not, there's no kind of reputation or like warranty for this, or there's not even like, there's no like intrinsic resale value that you might not know, because it's kind of like unknown. But as well, I wanted to say that because this kind of knife is so unique, and they are obviously numbered, this one's numbered 74. From my looking of the actual website, it seems like the guy, the brand, makes the knives, and then they kind of go just out of stock. And then he goes on to the next, so he's kind of like, you know, you're following an artist, like you can say it's a designer or an artist, that's designing knives and then moving on to the next thing, whatever he can create out of his mind. So I feel like it's not a knife to be on the kind of on the wall with. If you find yourself really on the edge of buying this knife, I would say just go for it, because if this thing sells out, it's gone. I think it's just gone forever, so you won't be able to get this knife in the future. So it's one of those things where if you really love it, you really like this design that is completely screwless, a blade that looks like this. Oh, I love the way it flows, like flows right here. I love the way that the different facets change different colors depending on how it hits a light. So very, very cool. I think that's pretty much it. I think that you are also probably very curious, and that's probably the thing that people are probably most impressive, you know, about the screwless designs. How the hell do they make this thing? And obviously, you know, when they make something like this, it takes a lot of skills and a lot of experience, and probably a very good designer and a lot of R&D. I will put the disassemble video after this, and it's not me actually disassembling it. For me, I'm gonna wait for this knife to maybe get loose. Right now from the factory it comes perfect, like I said. Not a scratch, everything's even, everything's centered, there's no wiggle into it. The blade drops. The blade drops when you put it down. So action, everything's superb. This is what it looks like if you had it in jeans, I guess, right? This part's sticking out. The clip. So I don't want to take it apart because I feel like I might screw it up. I'm too protective of it, but maybe eventually I would. So from what I heard, you'll have to just grab like a if you have like a fixed blade kydex sheath or something similar, maybe like a wood chopstick, something like that you wouldn't want to like damage the metal, and you just have to kind of compress this up. As you notice, you'll see there will be this kind of cuts into the metal, which makes it flexible. This is meant to flex. So it's kind of clipped in like that. It's meant to flex out once this part, this spine, actually can lift out. And from here, it should be holding in the scales from this end. This is clipping, holding in, and then this is connected to this part. Inside there will be liners, the stainless steel 440C liners, and that will be holding, you'll be holding the scale to the rest of the knife. So I guess that's all the internal skeleton. What I'll do is I'll put after this video the disassembly. It's from a Chinese video of how to disassemble this knife, because I don't want to disassemble myself. Woohoo. So I guess so far I haven't carried this knife. It's just too nice. But I mean, I haven't carried it inside my pocket, but I've carried it inside my laptop bag and left it on the cafe table, and then just take quick glances of it sitting on my M-Ruck, one of my favorite Hank brands out there. Love this guy. What's this guy? Mr. M-Ruck. He makes awesome Hanks, and they're like kind of cool just to do IG pics like this. But yeah, I can't tell you. It's like now you kind of understand why women like diamonds and stuff like that. The sparkly bits. This is diamond for men. So I think I went on enough. I hope this helps you in your decision whether you want to buy or not, or just out of your curiosity of this knife. This was a requested review actually, because I thought this was a very niche knife that no one wants to see, but apparently someone does. So this one's for you. Okay, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to be doing, let's see, pen reviews. I have some pen reviews that I'll do in the future. And I think I need to do another French. I got like 3 new French knives. I got to do a new French knife video. Okay, thanks for watching. 一转，它就开了，非常简单。然后我们来把它取下来，锁定也要记得啊，因为这边是充当了指导柱的结构，前面这一块是充当指导柱的结构，所以拆下来，现在我们就可以看到它里边的内部结构了。铭文各种镂空，咱们慢慢讲。这边也是这个结构。然后呢，我们如果想把它继续拆解的话，需要把它拧下来，这3颗螺丝拧下来之后，它才能够继续打开。OK， 咱们现在开始拆这3颗螺丝。
OK， 现在我们把这个固定的螺丝的钛柄取下来了，我们就可以看到里面的内部结构了。可以注意到这颗螺丝它就是隐藏在里面，它并不是没有主轴，而是主轴隐藏在里面。花田洋就是类似的制造技术，你们发现没有？花田洋很多刀都没有螺丝啊，也是这样的结构，它把结构埋在里面了，所以这个结构它也不是先例啊，它是一个比较成熟的方案了。但是花田洋并没有像类似的快拆的设计，所以这个它从整体的结构上是有非常大的创新的啊。花田洋它最起码它在背面是有螺丝的，这背面都没有螺丝，这就真是太神了这个东西。OK， 咱们现在把视线聚集在画面中间，你发现这是个台阶，不看螺丝啊，看这个本体，然后再看前边也凸出来一块，这是啥呀？它不是一个钢片，它是一块钢板，进行了表面的磨削，把整个表面磨下来一层，最后留出来这些凸起。背面也做了镂空，也做了这个削薄，整体的加工是相当复杂的。就这个小工件，可以看到它有多少的面的变化。OK， 我们再来看下前端啊，前端它这是干嘛的呢？和对应位置啊，它两个人共同形成了一个指导柱的锁定位啊，它不是指导柱，它外面还套了一层东西，一会儿给大家看。然后我们来看尾部啊，尾部的话，看这颗螺丝没有，做工真好，边缘还做了一个抛光。它的边缘抛光干嘛呢？它要和对称位置的凹槽咬在一起，看到没有？它们咬在一起。前端两个在一块儿，这个时候我们就可以把背骨拿出来了，拿出来这个背骨，神奇的背骨啊，背骨上也有边上，看到没有？整个都是配套的。然后扒住前面，看不这钩子没有？扒住前面这两个啊，共同形成的指导柱这个系统。然后后边塞到这个里边，可以看刚刚这凹槽就是干这个用了，塞到这个里边，然后往下一压，这边一个弹簧片，看到没有？这个弹簧片结构，最后稳稳的咬住，咔嗒，完成。整把刀就因为这个结构有张力、有合力、有支撑力，完美的在一起。这个结构盖了帽了，盖了帽。OK， 咱们现在再来拆啊，再说一下，一定要用这个塑料的东西或者银行卡之类的东西啊，千万不要用金属的东西。往外这样一掰，它就出来了。这脑子真是太牛了！这把小刀在轻量化也是做到了极致，钢制衬片看到没有？镂空。这边的话也做了镂空。我们来看一下另一边的3颗螺丝我就不拆了，拆下来之后是和这个一样的啊，3颗螺丝。这边写了 ForeverSteel， 就是它品牌的名字，这边写了设计师的名字，然后这是它的钢制衬片，锁定也是一个钢制的，所以它并不需要一个额外的锁头，这个很耐用的啊，大家不要觉得这个结构不耐用，钢制的锁头可以几乎使用终身。好了，兄弟们，咱们现在已经打开了这个几何，然后我们来看一下内部结构。首先看轴承，轴承它是一个单排，但是呢，它并不是纯的单排，它是类似于单排的一个小双排，因为它是左右交替的，看到没有？它整个轴承并不在一个轨迹，这样子的话就可以有效减短这个钢制衬片的压力。它不需要这个再加一个额外的垫片了，因为它本身就是一个钢制的，然后我们来注意小细节，002，然后我们来看一下钛合金的外壳也写了002。它是一个配套的啊，完美的都是配套的。外面就是它极富有赛博朋克风格的这种线条感啊，几何。它无法像电影里边那样子做出来霓虹灯的效果，但是它做出来了渐变色的效果，喷砂加拉丝都是手工来做的，帅啊，真的是太有样了。安装一下非常简单，位置对好了，前面小爪子一下勾住 ，OK， 往下走，这两边插进去啊，它是有两个角，插进去。往下一压，下边锁扣，咔嗒，就这么简单。